We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this transmission through your internet collective consciousness. We will speak on the topic of the idea of extraterrestrial disclosure. When is it happening? It's already happened. And what we mean by that is that upon your planet right now, through much of the use of your modern technology, your internet in that particular way, there is absolutely no shortage whatsoever pertaining to material, content, eyewitness testimony, all of this particular form of data that is available quite easily for many of you to see. You have testimony from military personnel, government personnel, eyewitnesses of your common people, everyday walk of life. You have so much evidence around you already. Is that not enough? What we are saying here is that what we have talked about before, it's about organic disclosure. It's about knowing that you have already seen so much material. You may have already had many of your own personal encounters. In fact, we would say many who are watching this right now have had or know somebody who has had some particular type of contact or connection or sighting relating to some form of phenomena that they can't explain, that they do not feel originates from this world. So again, many of you keep asking, well, when are we going to see disclosure? You've already experienced it. You've already seen it happen. What matters right now is being able to work together with the connections that you already have that are in correlation together with such a disclosure. That through yourself you will have your own mediumship to work together with many of these beings. Through meditation, through dream time, through other particular states of altered consciousness, you can connect with all forms of life. Not just the idea of outer space or interstellar space, but also in between realities, within yourself. You see, you have already crossed that threshold pertaining to the idea of realizing that there is indeed a vast universe of life that exists. And not just in regards to your concurrent reality, but through many different dimensions. You're already aware of that. You have already experienced disclosure in this way. Do you believe that your actual form of disclosure is going to come through your governments? You're going to be waiting a very long time for them to give any particular form of confirmation relating something, shall we say, of an extraterrestrial nature, because they are very much the last people that you want to look at to bringing you information regarding extraterrestrial life or contact with other civilizations or attempting to bring forward negotiations and communications with other extraterrestrial life. It's going to come through the people. Because what you have discovered, many of you, is when there have always been attempts for other beings to communicate with the human populace, they have attempted to reach the common people, not your governments. They've done the government thing. That's been going back into your 1940s and your 1950s. They realized they weren't getting anywhere with them because of their greed. So they stopped concerning themselves about communicating with your governments. They wanted to talk to the people of the planet. So they can do that with crop circles, they could do that with radio signals, but most importantly, they have done that with consciousness. They have talked to many of you in dream time. They have showed many of their spacecraft to you on various areas of the planet. They have established different levels of connections with many people upon the planet. And you are already aware, we would say many of you are already aware, that the great majority of your planet already believes that other civilizations exist. It's really a no-brainer. It is actually very rare nowadays, as you would say, for anyone to be in denial of extraterrestrial life. It's so obvious right now. So, as you're a culture that is already aware that other civilizations exist, rather than saying, when is disclosure going to happen? How about, now that we know that we have established contact, where do we go from here? So, rather than relying on your governments and your politicians and your elected world leaders, or rather in that sense, imposed world leaders, you ask yourself, where do we go from here? What do we as a species wish to do with this awareness of realizing that other civilizations exist and that through the majority of contact really has been from within? Well, maybe we'll start to work with that. Maybe we'll put experimentations together. Maybe we'll start talking en masse relating to the contacts that we've had, because they're always in communication with you, and something can indeed be established, because as the majority of the people on your planet are already aware that other civilizations exist, you can now take it to that next level. Adronis, are you trying to share something here? That something is actually trying to come out, and we are attempting to express this idea of a type of mass contact? Of course we are. Because this is another phase that you're about to move into. So, on a collective level, there are going to be the opportunities of contact, not through your governments, but through yourselves. Which means, right now is a ripe time, before the end of 2020 and starting into 2021, to work together collectively and as a community in forming an establishment of extraterrestrial contact with other beings beyond your world, or upon your world, in between your world. This is now the time where you can make this happen. Because, here's the thing, there will be agendas ahead to paint a picture in feeling that any attempt of extraterrestrial contact will lead to something horrific, will lead to a negatively oriented aspect pertaining to extraterrestrial life. That's what's on the drawing board as it relates to political agendas, as it relates to elitist agendas. They will attempt to paint an ugly picture relating to extraterrestrial life, in some hints here and there, without giving away too much. You want to be made aware of this. Your year of 2020 has had a great deal of surprises delivered to you. And there is a big surprise to come. But it will be agenda-based. And we ask for many of you to be mindful of this. This is why we are suggesting that those of you who have indeed had forms of established contact, for those of you indeed who have had these forms of connections with other forms of life beyond your world, or again, in between your world, that you work together in a state of community, that you share yourselves, and therefore create new opportunities for such contacts to move to the next level. We are not saying in the idea of a global first contact, but what we are saying here is that you're making those two worlds closer. The human world and the rest. Or you could say the ET world, or the interstellar world, or the interdimensional world. All right? The ET-ED world. That's fine as well. But you're bringing those two worlds together, which means through your own connections internally, through your own connections technologically, you are working together with these non-human extraterrestrial beings that are really human in their own way, but non-human as in not born naturally upon your planet. And you're working together, and you're staying informed, and you're creating a type of interstellar collective resource or an open source community between yourselves and extraterrestrials, because they'll do that. Adronis, what are you saying? We are saying that if many of you come together and are willing to cooperate and build a community, it can be on your internet, it can be in the astral planes, it really doesn't matter, but many of you are getting behind the idea of opening up established contact with other extraterrestrial races. They are more than happy to meet you there. Really? Yes. Why do you think we've been talking to you all these years? And many other beings through channels have been talking to you through all of these years. That at a particular point, you will discover that there is now an open window for you to create an open community of connection between yourselves and other civilizations. This window is now open. And it will open a lot more, and it's an organic window of disclosure and contact. This is something for you to think about. This is something for you to work together with, because as many of you are more and more involved relating to the extraterrestrial presence and other civilizations, you will not fall for any of the agendas that much of your governments are attempting to cook up, because they are cooking these up. It is unlikely that many of them will see the light of day, but it's still a light possibility. So, what we are stating is that you take your power in your own hands through what you know and create something of a community that will allow human beings, extraterrestrials, extra-dimensionals, or other forms of beings to work together with yourselves on a majority scale. But this is up to you. It depends on how many of you are behind this idea. We are just planting a seed here, because we're letting you know that if you decide to do this, you'll get responses. You'll get certain forms of communications that will take place. Because if many people on your planet are behind this idea, there's very little your governments can actually do about it. So that would be our suggestion, is to make organic disclosure, taking it to the next level, taking it to a platform where you can actually have community working together, sharing in their own discoveries of communications with other beings, and even being able to intend some form of platform to take place, either technologically, astrally, or otherwise, where others can connect with other beings and actually be informed relating to extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, intergalactic information freely. Think about that. And this is your own ideas of what you will put together that will blossom this seed and turn it into a beautiful plant. A plant of truth, a plant of sharing, a plant of community. Because that's what other civilizations are all about. They want to work with you. They don't want to just work with your governments. They don't want to work with just your elitists, because some have. Not really the ones that you want to interact with. But we're talking about the ones that truly want to work alongside you and share the universe together with you. But these steps have to be up to you. You have to make something happen. You have to allow this seed to be planted and working together as an open source community. Again, technologically, astrally, or otherwise. So, just something for you to consider. You are already aware, many of you, of the extraterrestrial presence. Take it to the next level. Take it to dialogue. Take it to exchange. Take it to community. Take it to information. And take it to collaboration. Thank you very much for checking out my channel. Below you'll see my links to social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also go to healingcodecards.com, pick up your own Healing Code Cards body deck, and of course check out my website at newearthteachings.com. Thank you once again, and I'll see you in the next video.